Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Second Suicide Podcast, Mental Health and Motivational Monday. I'm really excited because tonight's going to be a fun night. Yep. Got another local podcaster here by the name of Brandon Ferris. You could say hello, buddy.
I'm not ready.
You're not ready. He's very familiar with the podcasting experience, so this is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to pick each other's brains, and he's been doing it for a couple years, right?
I think about 2 years now.
2 years.
Yeah.
So your first podcast was, who did you have as a guest on your first podcast?
Well, technically, my first guest would be my friend Dave Ferris, and we did a mock podcast while alcohol was being consumed.
Sure.
Just a test run to see if all the technical aspects worked.
Yeah.
My first guest was, like you said, Jeff Leeson and Dan Shaba.
Yeah,
who did well for themselves on their own right. So
for sure,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I was watching that earlier. I don't know, Vinny Chase, did you have a chance to watch any of Brandon's stuff?
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched the one about MMA, I believe.
Yeah, and we'll get into that too. Well, there's lots about MMA. He's got a few of them, right? You got a few MMA guys on there.
There was a two-part one.
I don't know if you know Ezzedine Fidel.
I watched a little bit of that.
We did one where actually we were going to do a show called Those MMA Guys, which is kind of a pilot through Rogers. It didn't catch, but that's another MMA one we did.
Right on. Yeah, no, I saw, and I wanted to ask you, are you kind of gearing your podcast towards MMA at all? Or what is your general guest and your ideal guest, I guess?
Anyone that I can have a decent conversation with.
Yeah.
But MMA is my passion for sport-wise.
Right.
And I have a lot of people that pick my brain because I'm not really an MMA fighter at all.
Right.
But I'm following the sport from the beginning, and I just have that knowledge.
Sure.
So I get into a lot of arguments with people, and it's good content.
Very, very
so it's
much
good.
So.
Yeah, so it's fun.
So you're kind of like the Joe Rogans of, on a lower scale, but is that kind of what you compare yourself with? Because you did some announcing at one point in time, right?
I absolutely did. It was really interesting for myself.
Tell us about that, man. How did that happen?
Okay, so if you saw the MMA thing, I had Jamie Champion, who's a local promoter.
Yes, that was the one,
And he does very well, by the way. Shout out to Jamie Champion.
Shout out to Jamie Champion.
And it was kind of really unique experience because, so I was at the show as a guest. That was just initially, I was just going to watch, whatnot. And then I walked up to Jamie and I said, hey, do you want me to take a picture of the belt? And he goes, are you working or are you drinking?
Yeah.
And my obvious answer was, I'm drinking.
Yes.
And then he goes, well, do you want to do some work for me? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, we need someone to do color commentary until the other person shows up.
No shit.
So my first reaction was, what the fuck am I about to do right now?
Right.
Should I do this? And I'm like, I've had drinks in me. I don't know any of the fighters. I've done no research whatsoever.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm kind of panicking, but I'm back in my head. I'm like, this is my shot.
Yeah.
You know when you're younger and you have a dream, and you're like, you're at a concert, and you're like, oh, we don't have a drummer. We need someone to come up and drum.
I
could totally be that guy. That was it for me. So like, I have to take this fucking opportunity.
100%.
So,
it reminds me of that movie Rockstar when they give him the chance to get up.
Just like that. That's all I was thinking about. Steel Dragon in my head. So I'm like, fuck. So I sat down. I did it, and then right away I'm like, I don't know anything about the sport anymore. I panicked.
Yeah, mine went blank.
Pay-per-view.
Right, absolutely.
Fucking pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So sometimes you even get nervous talking in front of the class. Well, it was aired on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of the fighters, but I just try to keep my minimal commentary within the bounds of the play-by-play.
Right.
For instance, it's very difficult to explain.
Yeah.
But there's a play-by-play guy, and then he talks about the action that's taking place.
Right.
And I just give in my 2 cents and talk about the emotions and what's going on throughout the sport.
Right.
Rather than not what's happening, but why it's happening.
Right.
And it was very difficult, harder than I thought it was going to be.
No kidding.
Because everyone at my house would tell you different when I'm watching the fights.
Right.
Everyone's got their own opinion.
Right.
But at the actual event, I was like, so I didn't know what to say. So it took me a little bit to warm up, and then by the time I finally did, Chris Hordecki, who was going to do it, ended up doing it.
No shit.
And I handed the reins over.
Yeah.
But I do have an opportunity coming up in December to do it again.
Awesome, man.
Which is exciting.
That's really cool.
It's my local dream in a sense. Yeah.
That's fucking awesome, man. And Chris is out of Adrenaline, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Okay, right on, man.
Very good fighter.
Yeah, that's wild. And I'll tell you another thing about MMA, and as we're going in this direction, recently I might as well get into the story because I had, as of Saturday night, I have a bit of an issue with King of the Cage.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, this would be good, man.
This is going to be a good story. I have a buddy by the name of Chucky Matty, so shout out to Chucky. He was fighting in Michigan, and he had a match lined up this Saturday night. And just out of being a generally nice guy, he said, you know what, I love what you're doing on the podcast. Why don't I put your, sex and suicide on the banner? Well, it was a televised event. Before he got into the ring, they made him tape up my podcast and cover it up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was like...
I wonder why.
Yeah, well, I mean... I understand that sex and suicide are two things that sort of, you attach a negative connotation to.
Naturally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're also words in the dictionary. And,
Touché.
And I have a story behind
Touché.
that. I'm going to share the story with you because I think it's important. My my old best buddy, when I moved in here in September, I moved in with my best buddy, Dan, who was also he'd trained MMA, he'd fought in the cage, and he'd actually been put into a coma out of a cage fight. Ever since that coma, he told me, he opened up to me and said, he had some struggles with mental illness. A lot of this podcast, most of it actually is dedicated to him.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, and so he ended up, when we moved in together, he was partying over the summer with me. Obviously, I was going crazy. He was going a little bit wild. I was so caught up in my own shit, I didn't notice that he was fucking off the rails. Like, he was doing blow, staying up for 7 days a week. One time I was down in LA, and I got a call from his dad saying, we found him in a seedy motel room, and he had a rope out, like, ready to hang himself. And so at that point, I started being like, okay, fuck, man, there's an issue here. So I came home, came back to London. We had a talk, and we talked about sobriety. We talked about getting sober. And so I made the promise to him that, listen, man, I'm going to get sober. I got to clean myself up too here. I obviously am self-medicating. But he agreed to go to Homewood in Guelph, and he agreed to do all this treatment.
Explain Homewood to me.
Okay, Homewood in Guelph is an addiction treatment facility.
Okay.
So he agreed to get the help he needed to kind of go to rehab.
Right start.
And so anyway, he agreed to do that, and then over the Christmas holidays, I received a phone call on Christmas Eve, I guess it would have been 2015, going into 2016. And they said, we stepped out of the house for a minute. This was kind of his family's home, and they said, unfortunately, Dan has taken his own life. And so that fucking, shocked me. Yeah, and I'm still coping with it. This is why
you're never to be done.
No,
you'll never be done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is why I'm so involved in mental health. This is why Mental Health and Motivational Monday is so important to me. But that's also why we posted sex and suicide, is because those are the two things that I focused on the most the last couple of years. I also trained to become a certified sex coach. I don't know if you knew that.
Did not know that.
That's interesting. But if you ever watched The Bachelorette, which I was on briefly for 2 years ago, actually, around this time, they labeled me as an amateur sex coach because I wasn't yet done my training.
Oh, wow.
So that pissed me off, and I was like, you know what? I got to finish my fucking training so I can at least say I'm a sex coach, because I don't want to be an amateur sex coach for the rest of my life. But anyway, so that really, on Saturday night I found out about this, and it fucking, dude, I sat there and I was almost in tears. I think I was in tears at one point, because I was like, this would have been so proud for my roommate. I mean, he... and all the fighters, right? Like, it was his life. He was still training in jiu-jitsu, and even any time that he would get fucked up on blow, his passion was jiu-jitsu. So all I think about is them coming in and putting that tape over them, and I don't think they realize how emotional that is. I understand I'm going to get rejected for the name, and I understand there's rules on TV. I understand maybe it gave off the wrong vibe to a certain someone in a high position, but they didn't even bother to check and ask the fucking story. And I guess that they don't have to, but still.
Well, you come to two battles in that sense, because the stigma that comes with those words, you have to fight.
Absolutely.
Now you're fighting for the principle, or you're fighting against the words themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's where you come in that battle, right?
Yeah.
Also, from MMA, from a standpoint, even UFC, the toppest level, they do stupid shit like that without asking.
Right.
So I'm sure it's a conversation you probably could still have.
Yeah.
But it's just if it's, you can nip it in the butt and want to do it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. And I think that's the conversation. I do want to address it, because if anybody's gonna understand, you remember once upon a time when cage fighting was the biggest fucking faux pas ever. Now look at it, right?
It's a national sport. So.
Absolutely. And so once upon a time, these guys were the underdog, and they needed people to sort of understand. They kind of had to grow and get people on board, and it's the same thing with this. But for them, parading around, do they still put the women in bikinis in between the rings?
Yeah, they still do. Yeah.
So I mean, there's the sex right there. Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Well, another thing is that your two words, sex and suicide, are very primitive.
Yeah.
But fighting is the most primitive sport.
Fuck yeah.
So how can you not? How can you ignore love, sex, and suicide,
and fighting,
or death,
yeah.
and
Absolutely.
ignore fighting away from the humanity?
Yeah.
So you're taking. You can't just pick and choose what's fucking primitive and what isn't.
No, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
Either
I like
if they offend
your
or not.
point there.
Yeah.
You can't again.
Very good point.
And that's the thing, is that you're going to have people that are going to market, and
Yeah.
you're running that fucking battle like anything else. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't pick and choose sometimes, and sometimes they have to appeal to anybody else.
Right.
Because what happens is you have again. They don't know what the podcast is about.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe if they would have had it on there.
Maybe,
But
maybe.
it's a conversation still to be had, right?
Yeah, maybe.
So-
And that's the thing. I think I'm going to try to reach out. I wanted to sort of sit on it and get all the information from the fighter himself. who I haven't chatted with personally. He just kind of sent me some text. I'm giving him some time. He's coming off a loss, right?
Oh, he needs some time. Yeah.
So we're going to have that conversation and maybe address that on Thursday. But I want to share that with you because you do have such a passion for the sport, and I wanted to get your take on it. So it was really interesting timing how we kind of had this set up.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really interesting time. Yeah. Everything in my life has actually sort of been weirdly rolling with the multimedia set. Like I'm heading towards the podcast direction, unexpectedly, and it's kind of interesting, especially when someone else like you is starting to see what potential it has. You want to give back to everybody,
absolutely,
and it's fun to do that.
Yeah.
However, they don't realize that you're learning more than them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I have those organic conversations with my guests, and people think, why are you interviewing these people? You trying to get famous? No, I'm not going to get fucking famous interviewing people that people don't know.
No,
but I'm learning more. I'm learning more about myself. I'm learning more how to kill my fucking ego, which is still in a work in progress. As well as learning about how to deal with people. And my job at doing car sales is interviewing people.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to listen and not just wait to speak.
Sure, I agree.
And that's the hardest thing when you're talking to people. And I was the biggest culprit of doing that in the past. Not really listening. ADHD. Fucking. Let's talk about that after.
We'll get into that.
So, but when you're talking to people, you don't realize that you're just like, I've been staring at a shirt, waiting to see what I want to say.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what they say. And you have to learn how to shut that off and not show empathy, but have some sort of empathy what they're saying.
Yeah. And self-awareness, dude.
Huge part of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's built me. It's helped me a lot, really.
Good for you. So how are you doing? Let's talk about your sales. Let's give a plug now because you're a Highbury Ford, right?
I just recently came to Highbury Ford.
Right on. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's awesome. So everybody that needs a vehicle, this is your guy to see.
Come see me.
Yeah, everything that I'm sure that the commission he's making, he's putting towards getting great people on his show and building them up anyways, right?
It's helped me. Actually, that has helped me in both ends of things.
Right.
The multimedia has shown more people. And my Snapchat, like I showed you, my Instagram.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun. And I do. That's the problem with the industry is sometimes in the car industry, you're going to be honest as you can as a sales guy.
Right.
And people always think you're lying.
Yeah. You want to talk about a battle that you're up against too,
it's like
right?
a chick.
Yeah.
It's like if you actually like a girl and you're actually trying to tell her you like her and she's like, this guy's full of shit. No, I want you. Please believe me. I like you. So it's
and then now he's just desperate.
and that's it. So you have to come to that battle where you're trying to be honest, but people think you're full of shit.
Right.
And what you learn in the industry is sad to say, the more people that lie are the customers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, dude, I did car sales for a bit. Same with real estate too, man.
Fucking lie, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And I love them to death. Obviously, I love all my clients, especially anyone that tunes in. But sometimes they're the ones that are making up the excuses and they don't want to tell you the truth. They just want to kind of hide behind something else.
It's the game.
Yeah, for sure. But I agree with you 100%. So let's talk about the podcast. And I know I kind of watched one of your shows earlier, and you said that the inspiration was kind of you started Snapchat and you kind of took that to a whole new level on that podcast. I don't know if that's still how you feel about it, but...
Well, what happened was, obviously from an MMA background, like my passion is MMA.
Yeah.
Obviously, Joe Rogan is one of the biggest.
Vinny Chase watches listens and watches to all his shit too.
I've watched every podcast. Well, I'd say majority of it.
Yeah.
What I've really learned is how much of a non-egomaniac he is.
Yeah.
He has so many different intelligent people on, and he can hold a conversation with fucking anybody.
Yeah, like 3 hours.
Yeah,
anybody. And it's not just the fact that he's having conversations about something stupid.
Yeah.
It's things that he's retaining at the same time.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do is say,
and he's smoking weed, and he's drinking.
You think of how fucking high that guy is during the show and drinking, and you can tell by the guests, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like I wanted to learn about myself while being not in the limelight, because I'm not about limelight. I'm just like to fucking entertain people.
Yeah. Sure.
It's who I am.
Sure.
I do Snapchat, Instagram. I'm happy when people are laughing.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just been addiction since I was a kid.
That's amazing.
It's almost an addiction at some point where I'm a class clown. I would put myself at disadvantage to make people laugh.
Right.
And I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a need for attention when I was a kid.
Well, that's a very familiar trait with comedians, right? I mean, look at Chris Farley and always hurting himself.
Let's not go that far. But
no, not there. But
let's not go that far. But I do party, but
yeah. He was a big partier.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
But that's what I did. So then I started to do the podcast, and then I had with my place. I have the cabin, for instance.
The cabin, and that's the name of the podcast for anyone watching. It's the Cabin Podcast. Check it out for sure.
I'd appreciate that. Actually, I need some more viewers, boys.
Yeah, for sure.
But so I had a corner, and I put a desk there, and it was sitting there, and I had a Mac, and I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, who wants to stare at at the corner? I'm like, all right. So I turned the desk around. I'm like, I could do a fucking podcast. Right? So I started just slowly adding things to it, and through Amazon building a little desk and area. Like yours is really comfortable. It's kind of similar to this feng shui in a sense.
Right.
But just did that. built it slowly.
Yeah.
Did online things. And then what I noticed is instead of just doing the podcast, I was going on Facebook and I was recording videos of myself, reaching out to my friends and audience and having a personal level with them. Instead of just having them watch me, I'm reaching out. And then those are the videos that got most responses.
No kidding.
I was just being like, listen, I want to do this. I'm just having fun, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I was doing them in between podcasts.
Right.
Then I took a hiatus for about a year. And the reason why is I just stopped having fun with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an ego boost again, but I was watching it and then I would see the views. Okay. And then I'd go out and I'd have hundreds of people throughout the year say, oh, I saw your podcast. I saw it. I really like it.
Yeah.
Well, some of you were fucking lying because I know how many views there were. So two things were happening. Either you didn't like it and you're too scared, you're too much of a bitch to tell me you don't like it.
Yeah.
Or you didn't watch it or you did.
Yeah,
So three things. Cool thing, I've never had any negative like drawbacks. No one's ever said anything bad. So that's obviously they don't want to or they don't have anything to say. And then I took a hiatus. I took a year. I just stopped doing it.
Is that when you came back with the new intro? I noticed you have a new.
Yes.
I love the
and
intro
that's what
video,
I did.
man.
So
But the thing is, dude, I'm torn because I watched the old one today. I'm like, the old one's fucking cool too, man.
Yeah, the old, but
I like them both, but this one is more London
London-based.
focused.
Yes, yeah.
Very much so. I mean, it's all London.
Yeah,
which is cool.
And a guy I know who shout out, he gave me his permission to use his content.
Right.
So it was. You seen? I don't know if you go with time lapse. It's a time lapse of London, Ontario. And there's a lot of videos.
Yeah.
And I just took. Yeah,
I
you
know
see
exactly
that
what you're
video,
talking
right?
about.
On
Exactly.
Vimeo?
Yeah,
You saw that
yeah,
Vimeo. So I watched it. I'm like, wait
that
a minute.
makes so much sense.
I like this. Fuck that. I'm going to get the content. So I reached out. He gave me permission to use
way.
it.
Wow.
He gave me the files. And then I use that. And I have a producer, A1, Alan Heffernan. He's actually reached out to me.
Yeah.
And he says, hey, man, do you want to start doing this? And I'm like, you know what? Fuck yeah. Let's do it
Yeah.
again. So he did the production for me.
Right.
Sent it back.
Yep.
Ran that through, what am I using? I'm using like Movie Maker. It's nothing simple, man. And,
Yeah.
And then use that, have that generic template.
Right.
Add some, stupid content in there, and then just cut the podcast.
Right.
And what I was afraid of doing is I didn't want to go very long because I was noticing that my views were going down. Because nowadays, if it isn't clickbait or isn't cut, it's hard to get people to watch, right?
For sure. And that's the thing with us is that we want to give you, the guest, enough time to tell your story.
Right.
And it's all about, like, for me, like being sober, dude, that's how this kind of whole thing started. And I'll get into the bid chat thing as well. But I wanted to have all the friends on here that I haven't been out partying with and be like, look, just tell me about what your life's been like the last little while, right? But then sort of from that standpoint, I started noticing more people doing interesting things. And I thought, you know what, let's have some interesting guests on that are trying to do the same things, that kind of see the vision.
Same mindset.
Yourself. Yeah.
Same mindset. Same ultimate goal.
Yeah.
It may not be any monetary gain, but it's just being out there and having something to show your fucking kids.
Yeah.
If my podcast doesn't go anywhere, I'll be able to show my kids what Dad was doing 30 years ago.
Sure.
Fuck it.
Yeah, that's cool. This is what it is, a hobby. Yeah. No, I like that too. That's really cool. So, I mean, what do you see happening in the future now that you have this sort of producer behind you and you're getting back into it? What is your goal?
I want to bring up content a little more. I want to start bringing more people on, but I don't want to force anybody, and I want to have something that's some sort of decent dialogue. And I have a lot of people reach out to me, and no offense to anybody, but if I don't really have anything to necessarily talk about, I don't want to have you on and just have dead air.
Yeah,
because that's kind of silly in a sense, and it's not necessarily entertaining. But if neither of us are gaining from it, we can talk to Tim Hortons. Why the fuck would we record it? Right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
And if I don't want to talk to you, Tim Hortons, why the fuck are you in my house?
Then it's awkward.
Then it's just like you're kind of battling, right? So
that's a good point.
So I just want to make sure there's content, and I really want to have people that have something important to say. So what I've done recently, and this has been the conversation with Jamie Champion, is I'm going to use my outlet for the fighters. And I'm going to interview the fighters for 10 minutes and have them on before their fights. So they have something to say.
Good for
and
you.
it's going to be a platform for the fighters.
Right.
And it's going to be I might even change it out, do a little separate podcast.
Yeah.
I haven't decided that yet.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to be interviewing the fighters at the fight.
Very cool.
So I have that relationship. So when I do the color commentary, I know who the fuck I'm talking about.
Sure.
Because he's been in my house.
Yeah.
I know exactly where he comes from. I'm going to be able to explain where the background is.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So it's educating myself while reaching out in the community at the same time.
Very cool, buddy.
Perfect.
I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, we've had a few MMA guys on here, and I got a lot of friends in that sort of, I guess you call it an industry, right? But
it is now.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a good way to put it now, yeah.
And so I'm all for it, man. I don't follow it as much as I used to once upon a time.
It's hard.
But it's hard to keep up with because there's so many now.
Oversaturated.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. But
it
is what it is.
It's still getting, I mean, it's a moneymaker, right?
Yeah. So
by
you really, like, this is really, I don't know, people can see, if we're doing all audio or is it video and audio?
Video and audio. We got video right here.
See that right there.
Right here.
It's a nice, this is a good setup.
Thanks,
It's
buddy.
perfect. It's really comfortable for the the guest per se.
I'm glad that you're comfortable.
It's
That's
good.
key.
It's really important for the person, and they don't realize that too.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
and I saw some of your podcasts earlier, and you guys were doing the couch thing.
yeah.
It's fucking hard. It's impossible.
It's hard.
It's
eh?
impossible.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say that because you're like what?
Right.
Who do I talk to? And this is the perfect way to set it up.
Sure.
It's really nice. It's
Absolutely.
comfortable.
We kind of have the different scenarios for depending on what the podcast content is,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So for that one, it's a little more difficult to do, but we want everybody to be in the frame, kind of looking at the people we're talking to, because that one's more about anxiety and depression and attacking it. So it's all about. The Sundays are all about mental health for now, and we'll get into how
Okay.
that happened, because at one point in time, it was only supposed to be. So about a year ago. This is what's running here. This is a program called Bid Chat.
I'm really interested in this. Too,
Yeah,
as
so
well.
I'll tell you
That's
about Bid Chat. Bid Chat, you have to try out to get a show on Bid Chat. So there's producers, you have to do a Skype call, and it's basically an app that generates revenue to put towards charity, but it's
Perfect.
celebrity backed. So if you go on their Instagram account, you'll see the people they've had on. Adam Carolla, obviously, I told you about him
Yeah.
earlier. People from the show Teen Wolf, MTV Teen Wolf, Bachelors, Bachelorettes. You name it, they've had people on there. Seth Green, anybody that really wanted to go on that had the time for a cause to raise a bunch of money. So originally, my whole concept was to do a new Sunday night sex show, similar to what Sue Johansson had, but like with as a sex coaching. But I had to make it a little more entertaining and edgy, because I'm not an older lady that can fucking give head to a banana.
Which is banana, by the way.
Yeah, right.
I always wondered about Sue.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's how this whole thing started. And then basically, because I wanted to kind of tie the two together with the thing that happened with my roommate. The funny thing is, I kind of gave people the option to go towards talking about sex or talking about mental health, and so many people were going towards mental health over talking about sex. I thought everybody would be like telling me about their sex life, whatever.
Yeah.
But they're opening up about suicide attempts
That's
or
interesting.
anxiety.
That's very interesting,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And so they had the option, and even though suicide tends to be the darker of the two words, you'd think, right?
It's more therapeutic.
Yeah. So they're gearing towards that, and so I figured, you know what, we're gonna put the sex show on hold. We're gonna do Sundays are gonna be Soulfire Sundays. Get some people on here that have experienced anxiety, depression, and suicide attempts.
I think I've
Yeah, and we'll move
Top
forward.
of all of them.
Yeah, exactly. We'll move forward for 15 weeks, and we'll all do a program together with a bunch of guys talking. So yeah, you're right. It probably doesn't work from like talking and not knowing who to talk to, but as long as the information's getting out there, that's all I really give a fuck
That's cool.
about. Yeah.
No, I didn't know
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's our Sundays.
That's
the
cool.
Monday, the Motivation Monday, it's basically men's. I mean, I didn't want to segregate it because we're trying to be gender equal here, but men's Monday, women's Wednesday is basically what we're doing. I call it Mental Health and Motivational Monday. You'll always see a man on Monday.
Cool.
Women Crush Wednesday, you'll always see a woman on Wednesday. So the idea is basically to get people on to share their story. It's like we're trying to do to you. So,
Yeah.
I mean, earlier we kind of discussed some things that you were going through, and we'd get into it. So
Yeah.
do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, well, there's nothing really in particular to talk about. It's
Okay.
just, you talk about mental health, and it's funny because everyone views, and for yourself, man, like you just went through a lot.
Yeah.
But you were on a TV show, and people
Yeah.
didn't know what's underneath the water.
Not at
You see
all.
a duck floating, but the legs are kicking, right?
Absolutely.
And it's funny because I always...
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I always portray myself. The Replacements with Gene Hackman, great movie. So I'm always portraying myself as someone that's happy, and you know what? I honestly, truly am happy. I'm a happy person.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be alive. And I'll get back into my story.
Yeah.
You went through something like that, and I was in a car accident when I was in grade 12.
Really?
And a friend of mine, we hit a pole at 145 kilometers an hour.
Fuck.
So, and I haven't spoken to this friend in a long time.
Really?
He recently added me to Facebook, and I'm on the fence if I want to add him or not. And I
Yeah.
kind of might reach out and talk to him because we had a kind of a falling out per se.
Why do you think the falling? Like, was it because of the accident? That the
No,
falling
it was
out?
after. It was 10 years after the accident, and we lived
Really?
with each other, and it was just it was very a toxic place to be in his house, and he wasn't where he needed to be mentally, and
Right.
and I don't think I was mentally.
Yeah.
And but besides that, we were in grade 12, and we hit a hydro pole at 145.
Yeah, that's
When you're
wild.
16.
No kidding.
You ever had the wind knocked out of you? Times it
Holy
by 30,
shit.
and you fucking So I'll actually break down the story. It's a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, let's hear that
Yeah.
story.
So we're in grade 12, and just trying to discover yourself. I had not lost my virginity yet, boys.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go there.
You're a late bloomer. That's all right,
I was
man.
no, I was right after though. So give me a little bit of fame. So
God.
shout out to Ashley Hunking, thank you. No, we're friends still. We dated in high
Okay.
school.
Oh,
and we're
that's
friends.
awesome.
Yeah, she's
Right
an
on.
awesome
Yeah.
chick. She's getting married. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And
so-
good kill.
Yeah. The first kill. So we were driving back from high school, and Matt, my friend, he had brought a brand new Hyundai Tiburon. And we were driving back from school, and I don't honestly remember all the details, and it's hard because it was quite a big impact right afterwards. But we were passing someone to catch up to a friend, and we went a little too fast. We drifted and hit a pole.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw the pole coming, and it's one of those things that people say you see everything slows down, and your life flashes. I'm not a religious person by any fucking means. Okay?
Right. Yep.
However, that happens.
It's happened to me.
That happens, and it's very interesting.
So explain that experience a little more.
Everything slows down, and you know it's happening, but time literally slows down. You know it's coming. You have time to think of 20 things, like consciously, before it happens. Where it's not flashing. You know what you're thinking.
I have a theory about
really.
It's fucking. I like to hear that. Too.
Yeah. What's your theory? And then I want to know what you thought about.
Well, for me, my encounter with that was I was in like a home invasion robbery type of thing.
That's fucking traumatic.
Woke up at 4 a.m. I'm in my boxers, just some dude with a knife in my room. Right?
Yeah.
So I had that, and it's like you said, it's almost like time slows down, and then you get a bunch of things in a minute. It's almost like you see your whole life at once. I kind of think it's a survival instinct. It's your body's way of just taking all the useful information that it might have had over your lifespan, and just boom at once, and like hope that you do something.
It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. So what were you thinking about? Tell me some of the thoughts that were going through.
I don't remember. It was just I was thinking my life things, and then all of a sudden I saw the pole, and I knew I was going to die.
No shit.
I've never in my life known for a fact that your life has ended.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like someone pulls a gun and the bullet doesn't come out, but the sound goes. You know,
right.
So we hit the pole. I was out cold for maybe 3 or 4 seconds, a jolt. Opened my eyes and I saw dust.
Yeah.
Or smoke. So I thought fucking car's on fire.
Right. Get out.
But I got out on my hands and knees, and I thought I was going to puke up my intestines.
Really?
Yeah, I thought I was going to go, and then there was going to be something from inside come outside.
Right.
And it wasn't going to be fun.
Right.
So I finally caught some air. Go ahead.
Yeah. Did you have any injuries?
No, not physically.
Wow.
So that's what we're going to get into.
Yeah. Go ahead. So
I got up, and my first instinct was go check on my friend.
Right.
Okay. And I went to go reach on him, and I shook him, and he, from what little gruesome, but enough to say for work.
Right.
However, his left femur between his knee and his hip was snapped sideways to the left.
Jeez.
And he fractured skull in his head.
Yeah.
And he was bleeding out of his mouth and his nose, and he was gurgling.
Jesus.
For instance, really graphic.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't really know what was taking place, so I shook him.
Right.
Okay, and he was. I'm like, fuck. So I get back out of the car, and then some man who worked at Hydro One, because this is right on Palm Mills.
Yeah. Okay.
So right there, the Hydro.
Okay.
So comes out. He goes, "Do you need help?" I'm like, "Just help my friend. Help my friend. I fucking can walk. I can talk. Go help him."
What's the speed limit?
60.
Okay. All right. So you guys do a little racing.
A wee
or
bit
something.
fast. Yeah, we're just kids though. We're just kids.
Fair enough, man. I've been there. Yeah.
And then I distinctly remember them trying to pull him out. Blah 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 blah. Little things happen. People were stopping. It was the end of the day, so people were driving by.
Right.
All the kids that we went to high school with
really
were stopping.
Oh my god.
Buses were driving by. And they saw the car.
Jesus.
So I get in the back of an ambulance. A couple of my buddies go like, "What the fuck just happened?" kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't fuck you. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's my answer. So can you cross your eyes? Can you guys cross your eyes?
Yeah.
That's what I could see.
Really?
Yeah, because I was concussed, right?
Yeah.
So I'm getting wheeled. They're lying me down the ambulance, and they're driving me to the hospital, and I see his car go flying past. I'm like, okay, well, something's up. I don't know what kind of shape he was in.
Yeah.
And as I'm getting wheeled down the gurney, I see them wheeling him past, and they're fucking cutting his clothes off.
Really?
And I'm like,
and
I'm just kind of like, shit's going down. So I sit in the hospital bed, and I thought 10 minutes went by. 3 hours.
Really?
In the hospital bed. I had no idea. I had no concept of time.
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm sitting there and I'm asking the nurse. I said, "What the fuck's going on with my friend?" She's like, "Well, don't worry about my friend." I go, "I don't fucking tell me I have to worry about it,
because I know
I know I'm gonna live.
Yeah.
What else am I gonna worry about?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, "He doesn't look good."
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I'm like, "Well, I fucking know that. I saw his head."
Yeah.
So wheeled him in. Kind of. It was one of our. I went to RMC, and it was one of our high school car accidents. Really.
Right.
So
Right.
it was a pretty traumatic experience, and not knowing when your friend's gonna live.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that like. Now, when I drive, if I'm with someone I don't really know that well, I get anxiety.
No shit.
Massive anxiety. If
Really?
I'm not in control, I will take control.
Yeah,
Really?
I can see that.
And you freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I'll never, even to this day,
Sticks
to
with
this
you.
day, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not the type of person to, I don't fear death.
Yeah.
I really don't. Like
But that experience sticks with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. In your subconscious somewhere, it's
what are we doing? We're not like, we don't like this.
Yeah.
We don't like this.
Yeah.
And it's the scariest thing. And one of those things, and I didn't notice for a long time, my mom said I wasn't okay.
Really?
And that gets into, you think you're okay, and if people notice you're not okay, there's something fucking wrong. There's something fucking wrong with you. And it's one of those things that I wasn't okay for a long time after that.
Yeah.
Really?
With no injuries either.
Did you feel like, at that time, did you feel that there was anything wrong with being that way? Like, it is okay to not be okay. Did you feel that, or were you kind of defensive about it?
I wasn't defensive, but at the same time, I was grade 12, late bloomer,
Right.
just meeting girls, and
Yeah.
there was nothing was supposed to be okay when you're that age.
Sure.
Nothing's okay.
Yeah.
You go home, a girl doesn't like you, you fucking want to kill yourself.
Yeah, you do.
You like,
Fuck,
you
man.
know what I mean? Nothing
Yeah.
works. You
Yeah.
smoke weed for the first time. You start
Yeah.
to drink. Everything's
Yeah.
a new experience. So
Yeah.
what the fuck is normal?
That's true. No.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, and that's why I met my first girlfriend through the accident, and then bada bing, bada boom, you know.
Yeah.
So, but it's just like at that age, and then I remember breaking up with her after a year and a half of dating, and I was devastated.
Right.
Did you do the breaking?
She broke up. Well, she broke up with me because I was a fucking goofball.
Okay.
But didn't cheat on her or anything like that. But I was just kind of a dickhead.
Sure.
And then it's just so fucking funny how you can be in grade 12, think the world is just that's all you know.
Yeah.
And something that's so devastating could crush you.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I look back, I'm like, I wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's when people take things so differently. And that's
Yeah.
the suicide thing is like, people do that, sadly, when there's no drugs involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no alcohol involved or substances. People still are able to get themselves in that depressive, dark state.
Absolutely.
It's fucking terrifying.
It is terrifying, yeah. And the thing is, when you explain that you were feeling, would you say at one point in time you were feeling like at that age, did the thought of suicide ever cross your mind?
Constantly.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
everyone says
At that age,
it's a
I know.
stigma.
Yeah.
Not even that. It's everyone like, and I'm a big comedy fan, Louis C.K.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He talks about his recent comedy. He's like, everyone thinks about fucking killing themselves.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
once a week, you're like, well, what if I wasn't here?
Yeah.
You know, it's just how far you take that thought.
Yeah.
And how far, and if you don't realize, like for me, I've never really attempted to end my life.
No.
No.
I've never
neither have I.
attempted to.
No. But the thoughts have been, I've had the thoughts too.
Man,
and
you're crying in your bed. You think you're not worth the world. And
Yeah.
You're just like, what the fuck? And you cry.
Yeah.
You wake up crying. You're like,
Yeah.
mental breakdown. And you're like, fuck it. I just end this.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
you don't realize like how many other people.
It affects.
I was
Yeah.
recently at a friend of mine's funeral who had taken his life.
Really? I'm sorry to hear that,
yeah,
man.
thank you.
I fucking hate suicide, dude.
I know,
fucking
man.
Hate it.
I know. It wasn't that long ago, and you kind of like forget how much pain people were in with the smile they put on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible thought to know that they were suffering
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
reaching out for help.
Yeah.
You're like, man, like just fucking hold on.
Yeah. I
Just
know.
hold on. We'll get you to a place where you don't have to have that.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. By telling these stories, though, like your car accident and even the breakup, because I remember I was devastated when I first broke up with my ex-girlfriend in high school, too, right? Like, it was,
Man.
yeah, you thought the fucking world was over.
I don't get sex anymore.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
It's never going to happen
Oh,
again.
man. You think you're a fucking loser. You're not going to get laid. And you're like, what do I do?
But kids in high school, I mean, that new Netflix show, 13 Reasons Why.
Oh,
is,
my
like,
God.
that
Yeah.
brought back a lot of fucking shit for
Same.
me. Yeah.
It's fucked up, man.
And I'm glad that they did that, though, because kids need to understand that at least we're adults now, and those people in high school, hopefully you can watch this and be like, look, I know it feels like shit right now, but we're still having a good time here,
Yeah.
so don't fucking put it away just yet.
But one of the biggest things I ever said, and it's one of my favorite quotes. I don't even know if I made it up. I probably didn't. But suicide is a permanent end for a temporary problem.
Absolutely.
And
I
people don't
agree.
realize that.
Mhm.
And speaking of that, about that show, I'm fucking fired up, boys.
Yeah.
So what happens is that what pisses me off, I always see these things about bullying. Yeah, bullying's terrible. It's fucking never going anywhere.
No,
It's
not
been
at
from the
all.
beginning of time.
Yeah.
It's always going to be around.
Yeah.
We have to learn a way to talk to these kids
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you're not
Yeah.
going to stop bullying.
Yeah.
It never will go away.
And teach them the coping skills, and
Yes.
to realize that if someone's picking on you, it's not necessarily, like, it's usually not your problem,
Yeah.
it's their problem.
Yeah.
It's a lot more about them.
Teach your
Right,
kid to call
right.
the bully a weak bastard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're a weak bastard. That's why you beat me up.
And I know when I was a fucking bully in high school at times, it was
Yeah.
because I was emotionally weak inside, and I
Yeah.
didn't know how to fucking deal with this. So I
Oh
picked
yeah,
up-
especially for guys, right? I
Absolutely.
mean,
I never bullied anybody, man. I
No?
was
No.
bullied.
oh yeah.
Well, I
Same.
got
Hard.
bullied too.
Same.
but
Hard.
You kind of
Yeah.
it's toxic because it can
Yeah.
stream through you, and it can put you in that state of mind where you want to fucking just put someone else.
Yeah.
You want someone else to feel the way that you're feeling.
Yeah, it's natural.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
And the thing about with online and social media now, and this is interesting, and one of the things about volunteering at Parkwood Hospital taught me is that people that are severely mentally ill still have internet access, and they're still commenting. So when you get when someone
That's a
makes
huge thing.
it's a huge thing people don't realize.
We'll get there too.
Yeah,
I got something about that.
Yeah, people are leaving these comments and getting into arguments with people that just are never going to understand your side of the argument because they're not there.
The trolling too.
Yeah.
They need the attention because no one else is giving it to them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's actually, I was going to say something about that too.
Yeah,
that this
let's talk
huge
about
issue.
that.
Well, the transgender thing that I'm not. I'll get this out in the air.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if you're gay, if you're whatever. I don't.
Yeah.
If you're a human and you perpetuate love,
Yep.
I don't give a fuck. That's it.
Love
I don't give a fuck.
Sure.
But now we're getting this debate where people are you can't offend someone because they're transgender, and then you're offending them because they identify with somebody.
Yeah.
Well, at some fucking point, we're gonna have to figure out. Like, I get fired up, boys. This is
Yeah,
the whole pronoun.
yeah.
The whole pronoun game.
At some point, if you have a million gay people or a million transgender people, okay,
Yeah.
million transgender, for instance,
Yeah.
there's a lot of them are going to be just fucking playing crazy.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
they're protected by the blanket that they're transgender.
Right.
So at what point are we going to listen? That's fine, but you can't identify as a 6-year-old girl because you're a 48-year-old man.
Right. No, I agree with
What
you.
the fuck are we doing?
No. There's definitely a line that's sort of blurred, completely blurred here that needs to be sorted out.
We're focusing on so much stupid shit. Everyone's offended nowadays.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
I'm tired of it.
Me
I'm
too.
tired
dude.
of it, man.
And I think that the great thing is that this is a place, and your podcast is a place where you can come and you can vent about this shit. And
Yes.
if anybody has a problem with it, fucking deal with it. Because this is a place where you can be real. This is a place where you can be raw. This is a place where you can be authentic. And we need more of that in the world.
Well, it's funny because I try to be as open as honest as I can, and I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But the worst feeling is when you get to know somebody and you hang out with them one-on-one. All of a sudden they drop like a fuck, they're racist. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, that's so awkward.
What
right?
the fuck now? You're racist?
Yeah. You're out at the bar, and
Yeah.
everyone's getting along great, and then that one guy makes some really off-handed remark, and you're like, where the fuck did that come
And
from?
like, why is it cool to be like secretly fucking racist?
Yeah.
Right?
But you're
Yeah.
an asshole if you're openly honest about your own opinion.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
fuck are we doing now?
Yeah.
So it's weird. Like I remember being at work
Like
function.
closet Trump supporters?
Yeah, man. You're at work, work function. The guy's been nice all the time. You guys want to choke that bitch. You're like, motherfucker, you've been the nicest guy at work. What the fuck? Yeah. Like, and that's even weirder for me. I'm like, now I don't trust anything you say.
Yeah.
Fuck that, man.
100%, dude.
Or like, even I find the weird. I mind. Trust
Keep
me,
going.
ADHD, buddy.
Keep going.
So what happens is that you'll find out, and what I've learned throughout my life is that the people that say, "Oh, I don't drink,"
Right.
or "I don't do drugs," that's cool, man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't trust you. As far as I fucking tell you, because if you don't trust yourself,
Right.
fuck you.
Yeah.
You need to get fucked up once in a while. It may not be drugs. It doesn't have to be drugs. It can be anything, alcohol or something. But if you don't trust yourself, why the fuck should anybody trust you?
No, that's fair
Yeah.
enough. That's
You know what I
fair
mean?
enough. Yeah.
Unless you've had a bad experience with it and you
Well,
have to cut it out of your life.
I mean, that's addiction. We don't want to go into the sort of addiction realm where it does tend to be
A problem.
Yes.
But I just mean in general, for someone that doesn't have addictions,
Yep.
and you're not willing to have a vice, that's fine. But in my opinion, if you don't like to do something fucked up once in a while, you're fucked up. We're all fucked up. I'm a weird guy too. Man. I do weird shit all the time, but you gotta have some fun, man. Like,
Sure.
At the end of the day, if you don't know how to let loose,
Yeah.
you're gonna hold that shit in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unless you have healthier outlets. I mean, for me, I mean, I've obviously had a different experience than a lot of people. But for me, sobriety is key because, dude, I made that promise, and it's almost like it's beyond me now. So many people have reached out. It's like, okay, well, now other people are counting on me not to drink. I have to do healthier things, and I really don't want to anymore. I've lived it. I've been there. I've fucking crashed.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I've crashed in my bed for a week and fucking stayed up for 3 days. It's
I've been
past,
there.
Yeah, it's past me now just because it's it has to be.
The birds.
Yeah, but yeah,
The birds.
It's bad, man.
Goddamn birds.
Those text messages clearly asking like you up at like 6 a.m. You know damn well they're not. And
I need to have a bath. I need to have a bath. I've been up. I need to have a bath to clear my soul.
Yeah.
I get it. But you've experienced it. You know what it's like. You've let loose.
You're talking about people that have just
straight edge from the get-go.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, right? It's like, well,
They're not trying
you've
their
never
own-
experienced, you've never been tempted, so like,
Yeah. No, you need. I understand where you're going because I used to have the exact same mentality. I kind of still do. I think that everybody needs to experience things in their own way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or else, no. I guess I'm really on the same page because you need to live life and you need to have experiences.
You have to be able to judge anybody.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you going to judge someone with pain and depression if you've never experienced it yourself?
Absolutely. And maybe that's
Right?
it. Maybe you need to get. Maybe that was the reason why I was getting all fucked up and had to get straight and narrow, so I can bring people on the show and talk
That's
about
it, man.
Yeah.
There's always a reason for everything. And I'm not. I'm lucky I've never battled with addiction.
Yeah.
Maybe unless I'm the class clown or whatnot, but
Right.
I've never battled with addiction. I never
for you.
have.
Good for
you.
you.
Know, I've been lucky enough to. I used to use steroids, and I was using them for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was using them way longer than I should have.
Well, one trend I noticed in your podcast, a lot of the guys you met at the gym, right?
Some of them.
Some of them? Okay.
Some
Well,
of
the
them.
ones that I watched, it was like, yeah, we met at the gym. We met at this gym.
Well, Bo, I met him. He was a manager of Fitness Forum.
Okay. And then what was the other one? The other guy that...
Ooh, trying to think.
There's another guy that you met at the gym. I can't remember. Fuck, I just watched it like 20 minutes ago.
I did it.
Yeah.
It's my life. And I still
Yeah,
don't even
yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's my life. Who
Yeah.
the fuck did meet at the gym? Would have been...
You met at... no, it was... I think it was Jamie
Champion. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was doing MMA training. And I
Yeah.
was just at World's Gym working out.
Right.
And, yeah. But what the fuck was I talking about now? I lost my...
That's all right. We were talking about
addiction.
steroid use.
Addiction,
yeah.
That's the only thing. But that was probably more for image rather than anything.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel like going to the gym? I mean, when you were younger and obviously on the sauce, do you feel like that was an insecurity thing? Do you think that maybe you're trying to get bigger on the outside, or yeah?
Well, it's all... At the end of the day, every guy's a little insecure.
Sure.
You always want to look bigger. You always want to feel bigger. But
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily an insecurity. It was more of a proving to myself.
Yeah.
In a sense, I was battling with myself because I grew up a small guy.
Yep.
I was bullied in high school, and when I was in grade,
Maybe that had a lot to do with it.
huge.
Yeah.
So when I was in grade 9, I was only like 5 foot, 80 pounds.
Yeah.
And my doctor goes, "You're only be 5'6", and I fucking cried.
No kidding.
I took my mom to me to
Yeah.
a doctor's appointment. He goes, "You're probably gonna be 5'6". I'm like, "What the fuck, man?"
Who the fuck is he to say that though? He's
Yeah.
no idea.
I'm taller than my doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there goes your education, asshole.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to be big. I always measured myself on my stature, my
Yeah.
size, and not even really realizing I was doing that as a young kid.
Yeah.
And then started going to the gym, worked out for a long time, for about 10 years without even touching anything. And then I said, "Fuck it,
Want to beat your genetics?
fuck
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
just why not,
Yeah.
man? Fuck it."
Yeah.
And then I'd watch the documentary "Bigger, Stronger, Faster" with Chris
Yeah.
Bell.
Yeah.
And you're like, listen, I'm spending all this fucking money on supplements.
Yeah.
There's no testing. There's no really like formula for what
I
it's going
remember
No.
that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Oh, I can spend $65
Yeah.
on a bottle of test."
Yeah.
And
And
even
I'm
even
actually
now,
3 times the results, 4
Yeah.
times, 50
Yeah.
times. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Apparently, they're getting closer actually with supplements, according to
Oh, yeah?
some of the people that have been here. That know.
Really?
Yeah, they said that they're getting
I don't
close-
know, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
they said they're getting closer to the enhancement qualities that steroids can produce. And I've done sauce
Really?
before too when I was younger, for
Fucking
sure.
awesome.
So like, I had girlfriends that would inject me in the ass at times.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, my quad. I never did the ass. I did quads and then the delts.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everybody does delts.
Well, I never shamed of it. That's the thing is,
Yeah.
people. I would never lie. I've never lied about steroids. And,
Yeah.
and it's something. That,
Yeah.
if you
I used to keep them in my fridge actually in my old apartment.
really,
Yeah, like when I was 23 years old, I think, and that was. But at that time, dude, I was doing like test. I was on a Fexer. I was fucking doing blow and drinking. The poor girl had like the poor girl had like she didn't have a chance. I was just moody. She you know
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
you know I
Yeah.
had my issues. She had her
Right,
issues.
right.
But at the end of the day, if none of the chemicals were involved in our lives, both of us, we probably would have made it work. But what do? You're young and you learn.
That's life.
Yeah.
That's life.
yeah.
That
The
tripped me out.
lizard cage.
Yeah, it tripped me out.
Yeah.
But that's it, and that's my thing is like the reason why I did it again. It was just to put on a lot more muscle. And
Yeah.
just to have more of a imposing, not imposing. 'Cause I don't want to bully anybody.
Yeah.
But it was
No.
nice to put up when you're lifting weight, and then you look at the weight that you've done for
Yeah.
PR, and you lift it 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Feels
it's
good.
godlike. It's a
Yeah.
euphoric experience.
Feels
Yeah.
damn
And
good.
you're always
Yeah.
reaching for that different element and different level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you do drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
smoke weed. You're like, "Oh, okay, I'm high." And then like, hey, I remember being a kid, fucking grade 8, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna drink beer and be a hockey dad, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
I'll never smoke weed. Grade 10 comes along, fucking high as shit.
Yeah,
And
I
I
remember
never,
that.
and then I've never done drugs, and then 24 comes along, fucking doing coke, and you're
Yeah.
like, all right, well now what's next?
Yeah.
I don't want to go. What's next?
Yeah.
Because I did what was it? Not M. I did fucking meth one time by accident.
Yeah.
By accident.
By accident. Oh, you want a story?
Oh, yeah,
You guys want a good story?
yeah,
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Canada Day 2010, Dead Mouse. So it wasn't actually meth, but my friend of mine, I'm not going to drop names just
Yeah.
for her.
No, don't.
So
No, we don't
do
drop
that.
names
Yeah,
out
yeah.
here. Yeah, we
So-
take ownership here.
Except Ashley Hunking. Ashley Hunking. So we're at Gov, and it's Dead Mouse, and I've never been to Gov. Okay, so
Yeah.
we have a booth,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's good time. Dead Mouse is coming. Everyone's like, "Hey, you guys do drugs?" I'm like, "Fuck it, yeah, I'll do it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens? He goes, "Okay, take this pill, and half an hour. If you don't feel anything, take the other one." So I take one, and a half an hour goes by, and I'm like, she's like, the girl goes, "You're a pretty big guy. You can probably take another one." I go, "Fuck it, I'll take another one." All of a sudden, wow. I'm like,
Oh,
oh
God.
shit, what the fuck's going on? So here's the thing.
Yeah.
So I'm burning up.
Yeah.
And I'm tripping balls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to, so you know, if you ever been to the Gov or not,
Yeah.
when you leave the Gov
Yeah.
for like a cool house, if you go out to the smoking pit, you can't just come back.
Right.
You got to go all the way through.
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
No, it's fucking rammed in there, man.
So I'm walking out and I'm tripping balls. I think I'm in Blade, number one, because you know the scene with the vampires, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone fucking. So I'm tripping out. It wasn't it. I don't know what I took. So I went back. I tried to get through. It took me 45 minutes of hard tripping to get back to the booth. When little Asians are rubbing their face against me,
Yeah.
and they're like, and I'm like, what's going on right now?
Yeah.
So I finally get back, and they're like, just drink water. I'm like, this is not working. This is not working. Nothing's happening. I'm tripping balls.
Yeah, no shit.
I leave. I'm going towards the. My buddy's like, don't leave yet. I'm like, no. So I'm going towards the exit, and I'm going towards the smoking pit.
Right.
And I walk towards the smoking pit, and I just veer left and leave the building. So I'm in Toronto. I have no. Everyone of my friends are inside.
Right.
And I was sweating, but
Yeah.
now it's chilly out.
Yeah.
So my phone's
Oh.
dying, and I'm like, what do I do? So I texted one of my friends. I said, hey, I need your address. I need somewhere to go. I'm tripping balls.
Yeah.
She goes, okay. You want to give me your address? Phone
Right.
dies. But my BlackBerry died. I'm reaching around my pocket. I brought another battery.
Nice.
I had another battery.
Nice.
Put it in my phone. Get their address.
Right.
I get into a cab. At this point, I'm gone.
Yeah.
It was a terrible experience.
Yeah.
So I get in the cab and I go, hey, I need to go to this address. The cab driver turns around and goes, hub, blah, 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 blah. And I went, fuck, right? Like, this is nice. So I'm like,
No danger zone.
But here's the thing. I probably got in the cab and went, blah, 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 blah. And he turned around and went, fuck. I got to deal with this? Yeah. So I remember getting...
different
Oh,
realities.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, whoa. So I show him the address. I get to the address. And at this time, it was a friend of mine. She was living with her boyfriend. And her boyfriend's like, who the fuck is this guy coming to my house? And she's like, no, he's like a brother to me. Don't worry.
Right.
So I get there. He opens the door. He goes, bro. He goes, holy fuck. Because he saw my eyes.
Really?
Right away, he's like, come in. So I'm like, oh my God. So he goes, you okay? I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't know shit. So long story
Right.
short, I'm going to end this quickly.
Yeah.
I thought I was shrinking to death.
Really?
Oh,
So
God.
because I was
Yeah.
peeing in the washroom and I was peeing and I was getting smaller and shorter. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I getting shorter? Oh my God, I'm shrinking to death. My leg was slipping on a bath mat. The entire time. So he heard me scream and I go, I'm shrinking. I come out and I go, dude, I was tripping. He goes, the bath mat? I go, yeah. He goes, I've been trying to throw that fucking thing out for 6 months. She won't let me. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's an
amazing.
absolute, from the start to the end, a true story.
Wow.
Everything happened. It was bananas.
Oh,
So yeah,
man.
drugs are fun.
Yeah.
Nope.
So many experiences at the Gov, man.
Oh
And it's
my
gone
God.
now.
Yep.
Yeah. it's
For the
gone
better,
now.
I think.
Probably right,
Because
dude.
I can't explain how many people have had that experience that I had.
Yeah, very similar.
Man,
Yeah.
I don't go to those places anymore. I don't go to raves anymore.
No.
I don't do that shit anymore.
Yeah.
It's too old, man. My back hurts. the
Too
next day.
crowded too, man. I don't know how you like being. I like to kind of have. I remember when I was popping pills and going to the Gov and going to places, docks and everything like that. I always wanted to be sort of in my own space
Yeah.
and just let loose and dance. I mean, everyone says like, oh yeah, when you're high on E, you love being touched. I wasn't like that, man.
No.
I was like, get the fuck away!
Don't
from
touch
me. You
me.
feel like a spider.
Yeah.
Go away.
Oh man. Oh yeah. That's a good way to put it. Don't
Yeah.
fucking touch me.
Exactly.
Don't touch me. It's gonna get weird.
Yeah.
I don't like those things anymore, man. I don't go to those places anymore.
No,
Ever.
they're but the festivals are huge now, right? I haven't been to a good majority of them just for that reason, though. It's just like, well, they're too packed. I don't fucking feel the need right now.
I used to go for the music.
Yeah,
And
I
now-
love the music still, dude.
I still
got
do.
my beats behind me. I love listening.
Majority of people just go for the experience of drugs.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
about the music. You don't even know
No,
who's playing.
no. Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what DJ is this? I don't know.
I love him.
Yeah, he's
I
my
love him.
favorite. He's on my whatever the kids use nowadays. But I don't do that, man. And now I'm a rock guy.
Yeah.
I'm a rock guy at heart.
Yeah,
That's my music.
right on.
And there's no rock bands anymore.
No, the DJs are the new rock
Yeah.
stars,
Yeah,
right?
but
I know it's not as
It's
good.
not
I know
the
it's not as
same.
authentic. I know
I'm
that.
excited. I'm seeing Bush at Rebel in Toronto.
Oh,
Bush.
right on. That's cool.
No one, and I'm like, do you guys want to see Bush? Like, who's Bush? Oh, man.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
God damn it, man.
Come Down, great track.
The best.
Yeah,
man. That's my karaoke go-to,
right
bro.
on,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's
that
awesome.
bass line.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so fun.
That's fucking amazing, dude. Like all these stories, we could sit here and reminisce for forever. But I want to hit on a topic
Ask
you brought
me.
up earlier about the ADHD. Do you? How is that for you? You on any medication for that, or do you try to manage it yourself?
So I grew up with ADHD, and when I was diagnosed as a young kid,
Yeah.
and there's ADD and there's ADHD,
Right.
And when I was diagnosed as a young kid, and I was going through a lot, right?
Yeah.
and I wasn't a good student, and I had a lot of problems concentrating and focusing on school.
Okay.
I doubted my intelligence a
Yeah.
lot when I was
Yeah.
younger. And what happened was I was diagnosed with ADHD, and then I was prescribed Ritalin, and I didn't want to take it.
Right.
I didn't know because of stigma.
Yep.
I just felt like I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take meds. I didn't, and my mom was trying to get me to do it. The teacher was trying to get me to do it. And I wouldn't take it. And then that kind of passed a little bit. And then when I got into high school, doubted my intelligence again.
Yeah.
One of those things. I was never a good student.
Right.
I didn't realize that it wasn't a fact of ability at all or retention. It was
Maybe
a fact that interest and again attention span.
Yeah.
You can't. To this day, I can't read something I don't give a fuck about.
Right.
My
Yeah.
brain will go, I don't care.
Yeah.
We don't care about this. What are you doing?
But I know that you can get through a 2 or 3 hour podcast.
No problem.
Yeah, exactly.
It's different.
It
It's
is different.
It's dynamic.
For you. Yeah.
It's different. It's always
Yeah.
changing.
Sure.
Where if you're reading the same content every time, nothing's going to change.
Right.
You know, in the next 3 minutes, it's going to be the exact same fucking outcome.
Sure.
That's why I do sales.
Yeah.
Because I will not do a factory because in 3 hours I know what I'm doing.
Right.
So I'd rather not know.
Every situation, every customer is different, unique. It's
Yeah.
always new.
I'd rather not make money for 2 days and then make $1,000 the third.
Yeah.
'Cause
sales
what
is
I mean?
addicting too, though.
It is.
Yeah,
Bing, bing,
I know,
yeah.
yeah.
So
you can get going down that path where money becomes kind of like you're making all these sales and it feels fucking phenomenal. You're unstoppable.
Euphoric.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then there's the ups and the lows, and those kind of become addicting too in a way.
because you can go dry for a couple
Yeah.
of weeks, not a couple of weeks, but a couple of days, and you're just like,
Sure.
what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What am I doing at this point? And
Yeah.
you're like, you grab the stick too tight for anybody that plays hockey, is you're not
Yep.
trying any hard. You're trying too hard to not.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. Anyway,
No, I know. I played hockey for many years, dude. So I get the
Analogy.
metaphor there. Yeah, analogy, whatever.
but so back to the school thing. So I
Yeah.
doubted my intelligence, and then recently, probably about a year and a half ago, I have a really good doctor, and he's a cool guy.
Good.
And he recommended me something called Concerta, and
Okay.
it's been helpful.
Good.
It's expensive.
And not covered under your health plan.
Well, I was jumping around dealerships trying to find somewhere I
Right.
liked.
Fuck yeah.
Because that's what happens in the industry.
Sure.
A lot of it was me not being happy, and a lot of it was just me being I don't know, kind of an idiot
Yeah.
in a sense.
Fair enough.
And
I
I
just
just
take ownership for that.
I you know
Yeah.
what, that's what I've learning throughout my
Good.
podcast.
Good.
really,
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
It's a good way to grow doing
it's
this stuff.
awesome, man. Because you're
Yeah.
gonna get better. You better yourself. You
Yeah.
better yourself
Yeah.
every time you do one.
Dude, every time that I don't know if your guests feel the same way, but when my guests, they're like, "Oh man, I wish I had said this. I had more to say.
Right.
Can I come back?" And they
Right.
want to do one like the next day.
Yeah.
That does fade because people will get, and you can see how the outside world will have their negative things to say about it.
Yeah.
And some of them will say it's good on the podcast, but like, "Oh, well, you looked all right," or "I didn't watch it," and they'll take offense to that, right? They take it personally.
If they're not paying your bills, fuck them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and that's what I'm learning now. Is if no matter what opinions are,
Yeah.
if they're not paying your bills, and 10 years from now, if they're sitting at the breakfast table,
Yeah.
they're not going to be thinking about what you did 10 years ago.
No,
So
not
fuck
at
'em.
all. Yeah,
Yeah.
As long
for
as you're
sure.
not hurting them, fuck them.
Sure.
Yeah.
So back to the Concerta,
Yeah.
but it's actually really helped me. It
Really?
is,
Yeah.
but very expensive.
Yep.
What I've recently started doing is I'm not a big weed guy.
Yep.
I don't smoke weed because I fucking can't tie my shoes when I smoke too much.
Yeah.
It's
sure,
terrible. I get
sure.
anxiety, but my mom loved me. Someone at my door. It gets
I get
fucking
anxiety
terrible.
from it too.
Yeah, but I just do a little one hitter,
Yep. And it helps you.
and I'm not even high, just
Yeah,
buzzed. But
really?
my thought process and my brain and everything just lines out perfectly.
Really?
They line. It's really helpful, man.
No
Interesting.
kidding.
I don't do it at work, and I
Right.
won't drive
Yeah.
on it. But if I'm
Right.
like cleaning my house,
Yeah.
or I'm walking around running errands, just a little bit.
It's really interesting to hear you say that because you're not the first guest by any means to come on and say, like, I always say, what do you do for stress? What do you do when times get tough? A lot of them say, listen, man, I just go, I smoke a spliff, I relax, and I chill out. And obviously, I mean, if you can do it without medication or even without any kind of drug, then great. But we're finding more and more people need something just to help. And
Well,
if it increases your quality of life, dude,
Then by all means,
Yeah.
But even then, sometimes, like even recently, like with comes with ADHD, there's a lot of typical side effects, not side effects, but like generic traits that you're gonna incorporate with your life. Me, I'm terrible with money.
yeah.
No matter how much money I make, I will fucking make stupid choices.
Yeah.
And then when you're in the industry of sales, you have highs and lows.
Right.
So when you're stressed for money, sometimes
Yeah.
people don't realize.
Yeah.
Like me, I like to entertain people.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's a
You
lot
can't
going
do
on,
that.
man. I'm
Yeah.
fucking. There's days I
Yeah.
wake up, I'm fucking depressed.
Sure.
And I don't think I'm clinically depressed at all. I
Right.
could be. Fuck, I don't know.
Right.
But I'm not ashamed to admit that I could be.
Right. Yeah.
And I could be clinically depressed, but it's something I'm actually searching out with my doctor right now to see if I have if something's wrong, because I'm not fucked up,
right.
but something's not right.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I need to figure out what it is.
Sure.
And I'm not self-harming. I'm not going to hurt anybody.
No,
or
no.
I'm not a violent person, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's something not right.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried meditation, man?
I've always wanted to. I need
Yeah.
to do yoga soon because I'm going to be a tree in a year if I fucking don't.
Right on.
But
man.
I've researched recently isolation tank.
Yep. Yeah.
At Salts, is it?
Yeah, salt.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I'm pretty much open to anything, to be honest with you.
Well, dude, I have extra cushions here. Anytime you want to come and give it a shot,
I would.
man, I'm
I would
more than
100%
willing.
would.
Dude, it helps me. Like for me, I was the most negative thinker. I was the most stuck in my head guy.
Yeah.
I was on medication for ADHD at one point in time because they're like, one of my doctors said, he's like, no, I don't think you're depressed. I think that you just have all the symptoms for ADHD. I was on the medication. I kept fucking throwing up from it. So I'm like, I can't take this.
That's not good.
Yeah. So I had to figure something out. So I started doing cognitive behavioral therapy. And then I realized that I was kind of in my mind still because I'm transforming negative to positive all the time and I'm not really here. So I started meditating and for podcasting, it's great.
Really?
Because it gives you the ability, all you're practicing doing is coming back to the present moment constantly and focusing on your breath. So anytime that your mind takes you somewhere, it brings you right back to what the person is saying, and it's great in sales too.
Wow.
But if you ever want to try it, I got
definitely
extra
would.
stuff here,
No,
man.
I'll take up the offer for sure.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest things is I speak very fast, if you guys obviously noticed.
But which is great
Yeah.
for entertaining people especially with the attention span these
Yeah.
days, right?
Now we're talking to a cop.
I
Yeah.
think sure.
Yeah. So it's good. It's good when you're
Is that a frequent event for you?
No. I'm not sure. Actually, I just got fucking shit the other day, to be honest with you. I got pulled over.
What was that
Speeding.
for? Speeding.
I was going 80 and a fucking 60.
Well, at least it wasn't 140.
No.
Yeah.
Again, yeah.
for sure.
But
Lesson
no,
learned there, at least.
Yeah. Well, I guess.
Yeah.
But how long have you been meditating for?
Just like honestly, over a year where it's been frequently, like every day.
Really?
Yeah, but I started getting into it 2 years ago. But you really can tell a lot from how frequently you do it because it's not hard to do. But you can, so all you're doing is sitting every day. It's very easy. It's one of the simplest things to do.
Yeah.
But your mind will talk you out of doing it, and it's kind of like how you treat life. So if I'm not meditating and I skip it for a few days, I'm probably pretty flimsy with some plans from time to time. Or
Yeah.
So it's
No
kind of
commitment.
like when you think of something so simple and you kind of compare it to how you're living your life, it shows you a lot about who you are. Which is really cool because all you
That's
have to do is
interesting.
sit.
Yeah.
But you feel like, oh, well, I'm bored. I need to do this, but whatever. But at what point are you going to realize that you're just here to live? You don't have to jump from thing to thing to thing. You can just be safe in this moment.
That's interesting.
You're not
I've never
going to
thought of
die.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to die by taking a breather and trying to let your mind calm itself. And people think like, oh, well, boredom's going to. I mean, a lot of people are more afraid of being bored than they are of dying.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what to do. I mean, they want to keep going and keep busy because they can't focus on any of the major issues.
That's a really good point. Being afraid of being bored rather than dying. That's interesting. That's actually scary.
It is scary.
It's fucking true.
It is though. But that's why when you watch it, and you comment on this on one of your podcasts 2 years ago about the attention span of people.
Yeah.
And I agreed then, and now
Terrible.
I think we're below a goldfish. I think it is.
Yeah.
I think our attention span is something like 6 seconds.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And we're getting worse but
How do you find that with Snapchat? Because I always say, fuck, man, social media can be used for some great things like what we're doing now, but it can also really be an addiction in a way. With you, how do you find it? Like,
you're right. It's almost dopamine.
yeah, it is.
It's levels of dopamine. And,
Yeah.
and what's happening is I don't get addicted to getting attention. And people always think if I post something, it's always to get female attention.
Sure.
I'll fucking take.
Does that work?
I'll
though?
take 10 guys. I'll take 10 guys. I get attention, but I'll take 10 guys that are fucking laughing.
Yeah.
Than 100 girls that think I'm good looking.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't give
Sure.
a fuck.
Right.
Because you're gonna listen. At the end of the day, I'll post something. For instance, I'll post a video that I look retarded. Like I look. Sorry
Yeah.
for my term, but I look stupid in, and
Yeah.
and I don't feel like I look good.
Right.
But I'll post that. I said, fuck it. If it
Yeah.
makes people laugh,
Yeah.
that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's for Snapchat. What I do is when someone says, "Hey man, you made my day," that's so funny. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling.
Yeah,
You're onto
absolutely.
something.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're someone that cares about other people and
Love
making
it.
them happy,
I do.
which is awesome. I mean,
do.
that's a great quality to have.
Too much, I think, sometimes at my own expense.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is you got to make sure that you're taking care of you too.
That's my struggle.
Yeah,
I'm one of my
sure.
biggest struggles now is and that when we get on that subject is I don't have the ability to focus inwards and see my own growth.
Really,
I don't know why.
But you can sense that you're growing through the last couple of years when you've been doing this, right?
But that's on a multimedia scale, not a personal scale.
Really,
You know what I mean? I have no gauge of who I am because I'm changing all the time. And it's one of those things I'm trying to find something, a passion. This is passionate.
Yeah.
But even like boxing or in the gym, I haven't been in the gym in 3 weeks.
really,
I don't fucking care anymore.
Well, what gym do you go to?
I go to Gallery Good Life. I'll go to Talbot.
Let me know, man, because I need a new workout, buddy.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I've got the Good Life membership. We can come back and meditate it
That'd be perfect,
sometime
man.
and see how it goes for a little while.
That'd actually be really therapeutic for me because I need something
Awesome.
different. I need a change.
Sure.
Man.
Well, dude, I'm always here to help, man.
I appreciate
and
that.
well, I guess we've been going for over an hour. It doesn't feel like that.
Shit,
but,
eh?
Yeah.
How typically long do you go for? An hour?
Usually I try to keep it within an hour.
That's
I
good.
want to give a good. I mean, obviously we were talking about shorter is better, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I also want to have a genuine conversation with the person I'm
Yeah.
across the table from, and I don't like if they're tuned in for 5 minutes and they got something out of it, great. But I'd rather them listen to your whole story, and if they're not interested, I fucking am.
Yeah,
you know,
that's cool.
So,
Yeah, if they're not, well, fuck them.
yeah, and dude, if you ever need help with your podcast,
I appreciate that. Yeah,
like
I'm always looking to
anyway,
grow.
I mean, I'm pretty good with the Facebook and building the Facebook stuff.
Look
and
how
you're
well you
great
guys
with-
have done, man.
Yeah, so
Like-
you're great with fucking Snapchat. So
Yeah.
if you ever want to try to collaborate, we're open
I'm
to it.
always, dude. I'm always. You're the only person to do it now.
Yeah.
Like I felt for a long time I was the only guy
Yeah.
to do it, and then you came out. I'm like, yeah, there's someone else.
Perfect.
There's
Yeah.
a two
Another one of you. Yeah.
So
well,
it's cool.
let's do it, man.
I'm always
I'm
welcome.
all for
Yeah,
it.
and
So.
I'll get you on mine.
Awesome.
I'll get you in the
Awesome.
cabin.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Bachelorette experience and all that shit.
Actually, that would be fun for me. Yeah, let's do that, man.
absolutely. Awesome.
That'd be cool.
Well, ladies and
Thank
gentlemen,
you.
we're gonna wrap it up there, and we'll have you back, man.
I loved
Love
it.
your stories.
I loved
Love your energy, dude, and your
Thanks.
vibe.
It's
Yeah.
hard to level down.
Yeah, I know. So Brandon Ferris, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you watch the Cabin podcast. It's great. He's got some awesome guests on there, even from a few years ago.
It's on Facebook too.
It's
I
on-
only produce right now on Facebook.
Awesome.
I didn't know the avenues that you showed me.
Yeah, dude.
So I'm gonna. If you want to search it, it's actually facebook.com/Cabin Podcast or the Cabin
perfect.
Podcast. It's on there as well.
We can we'll share the link down below this video.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. So we'll do that, guys. We'll wrap up tonight, and we'll see you again soon, man. Let's
Please
keep
do.
in touch,
Have
okay?
fun. I had a
Awesome,
good
man.
time. Thank you.
Vinny Chase, thanks again, buddy.
Awesome.
Thanks for that fucking little 2 cents, bud. Cheers.